Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Dreams podcast, where we tell stories about those who are bold enough to chase their dreams and turn them into a reality. I am your host, Joe Gawalis, alongside my fantastic co host,
Where's Victor?
Chris. Today's guest is an artist who just doesn't entertain. His music and attitude hits you right in the heart. His powerful new single called Traitor dropped from his debut album, Medication for a Modern World.
Yeah.
Traitor is a raw anthem for anybody who's ever felt discarded, but it's more than that. It's a declaration of resilience. I have to tell you, man, I love his backstory, adopted and deeply connected to emotional themes in his work. He brings an intimate perspective to everything he creates. Not only does he write, he plays and produces all of Orphan Prodigy's music himself, making this project both intensely personal and daring. Please welcome Orphan Prodigy to the Live Your Dreams podcast. Thank you, my friend, for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Really, everything you've accomplished. I love your music, your backstory, who you are as in person. Incredibly inspiring. Really, truly, it is.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
100%, man. I'd love to go back now, and we'll people will get to hear the music. We'll have links obviously in the description below. We'll talk about Traitor, but what a cool name for a band, Orphan Prodigy. I'd love to get to the beginning of that, where you became Orphan Prodigy. How did the man morph into this incredible front person for this incredible band?
So yeah, I mean, I've been doing music, and like you said before, I may be aging myself here, but I've been doing music since I was 12 years old, professionally. My first paying gig was when I was like 12 and a half or something.
Oh wow, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been, I did the rock scene for, good 2 decades. Yeah, so, in 2019, it was clear to me that my band wasn't willing to do any more touring, wasn't, just interested in making any more music at all. And that was, to my dismay. And so at that point, I actually ended up coincidentally having an agoraphobic period. I think just from being on the road so much, so many faces, so many, just the cliche of, constant drinking and just all that stuff, all that rock and roll cliche stuff just caught up with me.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't leave my apartment for 6 months. I was like, we had like 2 months to deliver the next album. The studio ended up bringing all the equipment that I needed to record from my apartment.
Wow.
And then would bounce it out and send it back, and I'd have to approve. Anyway, it's long story short, it took me like 6 months to get out of that agoraphobic episode.
Sure.
And I credit my treatment to a very, very special facility called Biobehavioral Institute, which really kind of took they had therapists, the team of therapists like took me out and really just kind of like put me in positions where I get triggered, like at the mall,
Wow.
just like really crowded the subway. Like I couldn't ride the train anymore. It was terrible, man. It
Wow.
was really bad. It was rough. And so then I decided I wasn't gonna once I got past the episode and I was, over it, I decided that I was gonna kind of take a step back and not be a front man of a rock band anymore and just kind of
Sure.
maybe produce or something. So I found a school in Arizona called the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, and in Phoenix, and moved out there. Graduated. But it wasn't 2 weeks into that program that I found myself being introduced to digital audio workstations like Logic and Pro Tools, and so um, the second week or third week that I was at that school, I was learning Logic, and I've always been a MIDI composer.
Sure.
For those
Yeah.
that don't know, music instrument digital interface. It's just basically soft coding, if you will, for musicians. Ones and twos, or ones and zeros. Excuse me.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, so that was a natural evolution. So I ended up just kind of having all these compositions that I was importing into Logic, and before you know it, I was kind of I had like amassed 30 songs within a few months. Yeah, I mean, as a songwriter, I've always written 3 songs a day.
That's great.
Nice.
Because back in the day, Cliff Bernstein manages Metallica, had paid for us to record a demo, and at the studio in Long Island, and on the desk of the studio, there was this spin article about Rivers Cuomo from Weezer, who wrote 3 songs a day, or so he claims.
Sure.
And so I read that, and I was like, if I'm going to be any good, I have to do that. So,
That's a
That's
good
great.
example. Exactly
so
right. Yeah.
writing for me is just it's something I have to do. It's just like, going for a walk or working out or whatever. So I do that daily, and so that period in Arizona was crucial to the beginnings of Orphan Prodigy.
Nice.
So I kind of, at that point, I realized the first real song on the album, track 2, Getaway, was the first song I did in Arizona. I demoed it, brought it back, then I recorded it. I realized that I was excited. My music was in a different place. It wasn't being filtered down by a label, a producer, by a band even. And that was the biggest problem for me, I think, as a songwriter, because, I was the sole songwriter in my previous project. And for me as the songwriter, having your vision and your creation get diluted so heavily,
Sure. Oh, yeah.
between the band not wanting to play to a click, not using the MIDI stuff, and then the producer stepping in and saying, yeah, you should go, you should do this with the vocal, or, whatever it is, it just got to a point where I was just like, I kind of lost confidence, in that project. But with Orphan Prodigy, I could hear the excitement. And when I listened to that song, Getaway, which is always going to be, I think, my favorite Orphan Prodigy song, in the drums, I can just kind of hear the excitement of where I was and how confident I was feeling. The opening line of that song, I know this has nothing to do with Traitor, which is
No, it's okay. No, please,
but
please.
it was really just kind of like, the first line is, I don't like your face. And it's me being confident enough to say that, and not be weary or concerned about the flack that I'll take for saying something so stupid or silly or whatever. Whereas, 5 years prior, I would have been.
No, it really feels like that time away really gave you that mental reset to really find yourself and kind of create throughout your music. And it's fascinating, like you said that before, you're held with a producer and a band and all of that. And you kind of got this freedom to now believe in yourself again and to get out there and now create something from your heart because of these tools like Logic, and the way you can do things now enables you to get out there and do it on your own. I think it's beautiful like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had some really great instructors out there in Arizona, and Scott Murray, if you're listening, really pushed me to pursue it, because I sent him a demo of the Getaway, what wound up being Getaway, and he was like, wow, this is like the best thing I've ever heard from a student. I was like, okay, I gotta do this.
You make this work. Yeah.
I got to follow this through, and obviously I'm doing the right thing here. And from there, it just went crazy. And actually, Traitor was one of the last songs that I did for the record.
Yeah.
Very simple song, very 3 chords in there. And I thought all along it had been about a breakup, but when I really sat with it after recording it for after the year's worth of recording, I realized that it was more about rejection as a whole. Because I've been through these periods in my life where I've gone through rejection through like a best friend who like kind of like ghosted me. Moving from junior high moving from elementary to junior high school, ghosted me. It kind of really hurt me for like 10 years. Or,
Oh, wow.
I still think about it sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
And then same thing happened with, my first, my high school girlfriend. I thought, that loss, when it ended, and, it was a toxic relationship, but, when it ended, it lasted like a 10-year period. And so I realized that, putting 2 and 2 together, it's just, it was always right in front of me that Traitor was about rejection more than it was about a specific incident in my life. And I think that's something that can apply, everywhere, whether it's a job, whether it's a partner, or a friend. It can really just apply anywhere. It could apply. I don't want to get political. I swore I wouldn't. But it could apply to politics. It could
Yes.
apply to
Sure.
anywhere.
No, you're 100% right. Ian, again, being an artist, you have a very kind soul. You can see that through your music and whatnot. And I'm very fascinated, again, a little bit about your personal life. Again, your name, Orphan Prodigy, in your bio is mentioned that you're an adopted yourself. Have you found, because of your backstory, who you are, if you don't mind me kind of going in this direction, but have you found you find relationships a little bit different because of the way that you were kind of brought into the world and you become attached to people, and then if they disconnect from you, you see that as a longer loss? I'd love to kind of see your fascination kind of going through life that way, knowing your genesis of who you are as a person. Does that affect your relationships in the future? Do you believe in that or not, or how do you kind of see it that way?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's really defined a large, maybe more than half my life. My first band, I never had another band until
Sure,
Orphan
sure.
Prodigy. And now, it's kind of a makeshift band on the road, but Orphan Prodigy, it's really just me writing, recording,
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
and we have a band for touring, like I said. But yeah, I think the rejection piece has really kind of followed me. Entering any relationship, I'm always there 120%. It's all I think about. It's probably the reason I'm married now. I just, I throw myself all in.
Mm,
And then so when it's like playing a video game or reading a book that you're really, really into, and then just having it
sure,
like
yeah.
struck away. Like your parents pull you onto some vacation you don't want to go on to, or go on or something. It's just like, you know, it just, it's all you can think about. You always want what
Mm.
you can't have, right? And you just want that connection that is stable and strong and forever. And so when that just disappears, I mean, it's the most painful thing for somebody like me.
Well, what I love is what I can identify with as well, even though I wasn't an orphan. My father left when I was a year and a half. So you're always kind of seeking this approval from this person that left you. And not only in that relationship, but even other relationships. So it's very important that you do not censor yourself and you do speak your heart, because you never know who's going to identify with it on the other side.
Absolutely. And I think you make a great point. I don't know how else to be, other than just
Mm.
pure. Some people call it open book, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I only recently met my biological father, or made contact, I should say, made contact with my biological father during the pandemic, and so that was different. He wasn't even aware that I was, and I credit my wife to finding him on Facebook, and like I
Wow.
wasn't really interested, like when that stuff comes into your excuse me, when that stuff comes into your mind as an adopted person, you're kind of just like, it's not even like you don't want to touch it. You just can't really, you can't even grab onto it. It's like, I never grew up having a mother, so I can't identify what that feels like, but I
Yeah.
know that something is missing, right? Because I look around and I see it everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
But, that being said, I know nobody's perfect, and I had a great childhood for the most
Yes.
part. That's the biggest thing, I think, is that now I'm finally able to say I'm genuinely happy. Whereas in my 20s, I was really just struggling.
Mm.
My teen, like my dad makes this joke that he said my adolescence didn't end until my late 20s. Um,
Yeah.
and to be fair, I think he's probably right, because I was, just a Debbie Downer for so long. I mean, I had a great, experience doing the rock scene and stuff, and touring internationally and nationally, but I was really broken inside,
Mm.
and those records really reflect that, I think. But now I'm finally in a place where I'm like, yeah, I'm me, and I'm cool with that. And for me, that's like a huge, huge weight off of my shoulders. And to anybody that's, struggling with identity crisis, or kind of just, I just gotta say, I mean, be you, do you.
Mm.
Don't be afraid of people's reactions. Don't let it get to you. I mean, for me as an artist, I guess, you learn to grow a thick skin because you hear the word no, or you get rejected by people, daily. If not hourly. So, but don't be afraid to be yourself. I mean, there's no reason to limit yourself. There's no reason. I wish I could go, if I could go back in time and tell 20-year-old me just to stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. I really wish I could just do that and say, just, smack myself and say, don't worry. Just wear what you want to wear. Doesn't matter that, just be you. Don't be afraid.
That's
love
so
that
well
s-
said. Yeah.
I do love that saying, Joe, because I mean, it reminds me of one of my favorite sayings: is "Be yourself," because everyone else is taken. So you have something to contribute. It's unique, and
Like-
someone else can identify with that.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no, Chris, you're 100% right. Now, it's fascinating because you said, you've created great music for a huge portion of your life. Did you find these kind of, these hours or months or years of self-discovery coming through like self-work, or was it kind of during that hiatus where you kind of took a step back and said, you know what, I need to find me. I'm going to change my environment. I'm going to change things. I'm going to go to Arizona. How did you kind of go from the process of kind of like healing yourself to say, you know what, I do accept who I am. I'm happy with who I am, and it's going to make me not only a better person, but even continually change and evolve my art.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think it was a combination of a few things, actually. So I did end up, after I got past my agoraphobic period, I ended up by chance meeting my then girlfriend, who was, now wife. And so I fell in love right after that. So I was feeling really like super, I was on a really big high from just,
Sure.
getting past my, facing my demons head on, kind of then falling in love with somebody who was, like beautiful to me, and just, and, thought I was beautiful to them. And for me, that was like, that was a light switch moment, as somebody who, faces, deals with rejection on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Um, as a core issue, I mean, that was a light switch moment, for me
Sure.
to get that same equal passionate response from somebody, with pure honesty, kind of just like me, just open book, no room for games, no calling this, not calling today.
Yeah.
Like fuck that, man. I'm sorry.
No,
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 it's
no,
true. No,
I know you
feel
mean
free.
enough of the BS. Exactly right. Exactly.
Those games weren't there. And I would also like to say to anybody watching, if somebody's playing games with you, it's not worth it.
Yes.
Just don't even. uh I guess we're going a little
No, but that's okay. You know
It's
what?
fine.
Because it's
It's real.
about you. You are the person behind the music, right? We have to say that. So that's what I love about this, because our listeners are learning. Because again, when they only hear about your album or your music or see your success, it's so great for our listeners to see who you are as an individual, because all of us go through these issues and these emotions, and we deal with these commonality type problems in life. So I think it's beautiful that you're sharing with us. Don't think, if you don't want to, that's okay. But I think it's great that you're sharing who you are, because it makes that great music, and it makes you even more relatable to the world out there. You're not just this person, here's a musician doing fantastic. We're all human. We're all there. We're all relatable. I thought that was fantastic advice you gave to people about if somebody's giving you a lot of BS,
Yes.
stringing you around. Don't waste your time with that kind of person. It's not going to help your life personally or in business.
No, not at all. But yeah, I think I got away from the original.
No, it's all
original
it's all
question.
good, brother.
They call me the king of meandering.
That's
so
funny.
No, you know what?
But-
But that's what makes your music have a lot of
Yeah.
heart, I believe, because like you said, you go all in on something. I really truly enjoyed, seeing your eyes here, and like the transformation when you started thinking about how people treat each other. You're just like, I am going all in on this. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
my opinion, and that's a good thing. That's great.
And I got to say one thing. It did remind me of my light switch moment, which is basically when someone shares these deep feelings about themselves and what they go through. Okay, it makes me feel like I'm not alone in these feelings. That other people also go through this, and it's just a human condition that we all should share.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. I think I remembered the question, which was that I think this all led to me being Orphan Prodigy. So it was a combination of that, and also then going to Arizona, getting involved in, with digital audio workstations and being on the back end of things, and as a producer, learning how to produce, learning how to engineer, which, obviously as a musician, you're always kind of sort of dabbling in engineering anyway
Yeah.
when you're recording your own stuff. But I really went in and I learned a lot, and I credit the school for, being so good at teaching in such a short period of time. So, but when you give me a toy like Logic, or I mean, I'm fine with just a shit. I still write the same way that I did back when I was 12 years old, which is
Sure.
on a 2007 laptop that runs Windows XP. So
XP still doing its thing, man. That's it.
yeah. So that's because the MIDI software that I use doesn't translate to the modern
No, you can't. No, you're
modern
right.
OS.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm forced to do that every day, and then drag it into Logic, with the USB stick or something. But yeah, so yeah, all of those things led to me being Orphan Prodigy, and the thing with the name Orphan Prodigy, I think it's really a reflection of back in the day, the first band name I ever had was the Rejects, right?
Okay.
And then when we got signed, it was like, you guys got to change your name because there's the All American Rejects, and we don't want to face any lawsuits. So change your name. So changed our name and all that stuff. But that feeling, that resonance of feeling like a reject and embracing it, I never really shied away from it. I was like proud. I was it was like that punk rock sort of ethos of taking something ugly and turning it into something beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's like a badge of honor, basically, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wanted to retain that with this new project, and also put it into a positive light. So, you have Orphan, and then you have Prodigy, and when you have Orphan just by itself, it sounds like there's negative connotations and stuff. But when you pair it with Prodigy, is it pretentious, or is it somewhere in the middle? I mean, obviously, for me, it's just the fact that I'm doing it by myself. For me, that it just clicks, that it makes sense on
Yeah.
Orphan Prodigy. Again, it's me challenging myself. The Prodigy piece, I think, is me saying, yeah, step into that confidence zone. Step into that confidence that you're feeling. Don't be afraid of what people. It's what I said before. Don't be afraid of what people are going to think about you being confident about yourself. I hope people don't take it as arrogance. It's not meant to be an arrogant statement. It's meant to be me just being me and arriving at this place that I've been desperately seeking for so long.
Believe me, you do not come across as arrogant whatsoever. I think it's fantastic that you're an open book like this. I think it's fantastic your passion behind the words that you say. So again, I think the arrogance is completely out of there. Don't even worry about that. And it says so much about you because again, your backstory, you're becoming literally a prodigy because you're doing it by yourself. The melding of words does not come across as arrogant whatsoever.
Yeah, that's my reassurance seeking, I guess, right?
No. And talking about reassurance seeking, right? Because again, you have such great music around you, but one song in particular, and you are doing great on it. It recently just came out.
That's right.
So many views on YouTube. You're doing fantastic with it. Traitor, I loved it. I think it sounds great. I'd love to hear more and more about your process with that because the song is fantastic. The video, your team behind it,
very nice.
It looks great. Great production quality. There's a story there. I think it's great. I like to actually see like a 6-minute music video. It reminded me of like you're making something here, right? Like it would take me back to like a Meatloaf video, right? Like a 9-minute.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, Michael Bay used to do those. So like, let's make it real. I love that you did it like that. You have the longevity. It's a great song. I'd love to hear about your journey with Traitor because it was really, truly fantastic.
Yeah. So like I said, it was the last song that I decided to put on the record. I had the idea for a while, but I never really committed to it fully. So this gave me this gave me a chance, or project gave me a chance to really kind of, dancify the idea, make it something into, make it something much bigger than it was. So I really wanted to pay homage to all of my influences on this track as much as I could. So the drum opening, that's an homage to the Offspring's song
Nice.
"Gone Away."
Yeah.
Just much
Great
more,
song.
yeah, it's my
Love
favorite
it.
Offspring song.
Yeah.
So really wanted to pay homage to that, and it's the only, I think it's the maybe one of two songs that there's actually cursing on, because that's what got me into music was Offspring cursing.
For sure. Yeah.
Hearing
Yeah.
them, I wasn't into. I was like, I was 10 years old. I heard Offspring in Germany from my cousin, and she played "Why Don't You Get a Job?" And as soon as I heard that first line, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Awesome.
That's the
That's
moment.
great.
Exactly right.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah, so, since then I've been doing that. But yeah, so it's a really simple song. It's definitely, for me, it's one of the more musically, like, I, I don't want to say boring, but it's also just like, uh, I guess it's approachable. I guess
Yeah,
it's
sure.
I
Yeah.
guess it's like approachable. It's a great track to give somebody and say, "Hey, this is Orphan Prodigy."
Mm.
I definitely think my best vocal performance on the record is in that track for sure. There's definitely a lot of cool like melodic things that kind of came out in post production. So it was really fun to engineer that one, because it was like, how do we, for me, it was like, how do I retain the dynamics, but also push them? Because, I am obviously, it's a lot of digital instrumentation.
Yeah.
It's a question of, from an engineering standpoint, it's a question of how do you make this, how do you breathe as much life as possible into these instruments? And that goes into my meandering thinking or my personality rather, of just kind of like, there's not room to be bored, because there's really not a lot of space that isn't filled sonically.
Sure.
And that's kind of the thing with Orphan Prodigy, is like, there's really not room. Hopefully, there's not room to be bored ever. There's always something new to hear on a re-listen, and so Traitor definitely exemplifies, I think, those core values, I think, of Orphan Prodigy. So
I do have a question though. The title, I love the title of the album, "Medicine for a Modern World." Did that come before the song "Traitor," or did it come after?
that was I actually thought of the title probably in my college years. I ended up dropping out of my first college. No shade to Purchase. It's actually really funny, because the Traitor video was shot at Purchase, so it came full circle.
Yeah.
Came full circle and shot it at Purchase. So it was nice to see the dorms again.
They got a good program up there, though. You got to say that. There's a
Yeah,
lot of great creative artists coming out of that school. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wish, if I could go back, I would do it right. But probably would have done Orphan Prodigy a lot sooner. But you know, yeah, what was the question?
Well, I guess I love the title, "Medicine
Oh,
for a Modern
Medication for
World."
Modern World, right.
Medication, yes.
So yeah, so I had thought of that in a dorm room, and I was writing actually the beginnings of that little intro to the title track, Medication. So that was like a little thing that I had pulled from like a long time ago. But I really feel like in this day and age, when there's kind of like Gen Z and, kind of talking about touching grass and things, then you got, kind of people my age and older that are sort of overly into it, or just there's no real middle ground anymore. It's either I think life as a whole operates in these extremes.
Yeah.
And if you just look at the political landscape, I mean, I keep saying I'm not going to get into politics, and here I go. Everything is kind of extreme, either fall on one side or the other side. And without going into that direction, it just seems like, for me, the world just needs to kind of commit to not a meditation per se, but maybe just step away from it all. And that doesn't mean touch grass or get more involved into tech. It just means kind of step into yourself a little more and take a breather, and kind of assess your surroundings and assess the situation for what it is. So yeah, it's it's about taking a step back, really, and kind of going in, taking a journey inside.
That's so well said. No, absolutely. And I can agree with you 100%. I think it's a lot of problem with the world. We don't sit back and look at ourselves and actually, actually observe what we actually want in life. We don't actually just kind of, make a scenario. We just kind of keep going one extreme or the other. You're absolutely right. The world needs to kind of take a step back and say, you know what? I need to look inside me, take a moment and kind of step back from all this stuff, especially now with like social media overload. Everything's out there, especially if you're like all of us in the arts or in communications. We're constantly being bombarded with just like extremes non-stop. You almost never have a chance to unplug.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say that it's a big part of my business. Orphan Prodigy started during the pandemic, and so during the pandemic, it was me, an acoustic guitar, and the backing tracks that I was working on in Logic that actually wind up on the record. But then the other side of that, a third of the Orphan Prodigy umbrella, I guess you could say, is the gaming streamings that we do.
No, sure. Yeah.
And so, we get together, we do kind of like after we do the virtual performances with the band, we shoot it all downstairs in my basement. It's a sound stage,
Yeah,
sure. Nice.
and then we transition. We just kind of walk over to the gaming side.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's kind of a having the band on one side, having gaming on the other side of my basement has always been kind of part of my life.
That's what it's all about, man. You can't be
As an adult, as an
really
adult,
cool.
still doing that is a really, really cool thing. Now we're doing it with OLEDs and 4K and stuff, So,
I love it. What are you gaming on right now? What do you
so I'm a console guy. I'd
Yeah.
love to get into PC and stuff, but I just don't have the time. I don't have the, I just don't have the time really. So, I would love to mess. For me messing with settings, I will do it all day. So
yeah. No, PC.
the great thing about writing in MIDI is that you are so limited with the
Yep.
sounds. And so if a song sounds good on MIDI, just like somebody might say in the 70s, if a song sounds good on an 8-track or a 4-track,
Yeah.
it's a good song, right?
100%. Absolutely.
So that's kind of my philosophy with
Nice.
tech is if you can make something work with what you have, chances are it's probably good, or good enough. So, but
Yeah.
So the gaming side is really, really a third, and then the last third of the Orphan Prodigy kind of umbrella is me doing these talks with adopted people,
That's great.
adopted persons, and kind of relating to them. Maybe I sometimes I perform. We kind of just share our experiences, and
Nice.
rejection is obviously a huge part of that, and there are a lot of people that really, really struggle with it, and it's something that needs to be addressed more. I think there's a lot of people that don't know how to quite tap into that. That's what they're doing. I mean, it took me over 20 years to really figure it out. So, there's a lot of people that are still kind of on that journey of still trying to figure out why the pain hurts so much. Why there is this empty hole, and so I try to kind of help people find an answer to that.
I really think that's incredibly beautiful what you're doing. I mean, really, what you have accomplished not only with your musical career, now you have an outreach for people that are out there. Now, for our listeners, most importantly, because I am sure there are so many people, one that may not even go through the adoption route, but like Chris said before, may have their own personal, they may have lost a parent or whatever they have going for. I'm sure they'd love to reach out, learn more about you. Where can people learn more about Orphan Prodigy? Because I can't believe it already. It's already been 40 minutes on here.
Wow.
It's insane how amazing this conversation with you has been. We need to get you on like 3 more times to talk about every little individual thing you do. But again, back to my point, how do we go and learn more about how we can get involved with Orphan Prodigy on any one of those? Are there separate sites, that's the Instagrams for each kind of subsection you have, or is it all under one umbrella?
Yeah, you can. I mean, obviously the main hub would be the .com, www.orphanprodigy.com. From there, you can hit the socials: Instagram, Orphan Prodigy, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. So Twitch, which is where we do the gaming stuff. So yeah, orphanprodigy.com. You can find everything we do. Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal, really. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I have really, truly enjoyed this conversation. Not only your music was fascinating, I really truly feel I find your music incredible. I adored it. I love the video. I love what you're doing. But you as an individual, as a person, are completely dynamic, captivating. I think it's fantastic having you on because what you're trying to accomplish throughout your movement is going to change lives, not just through music, but everything else. Is really hats off to you, what you're trying to create.
Thanks. I appreciate it, man.
No,
Thanks,
absolutely. And guys, I mean, really, we need to have you back on because again, now that especially learning more about every little individual thing you're doing within your brand is so important. I'd love to have you on again to talk about what your outreach program, even your gaming,
Yes.
everything you're doing. I find fascinating because I like everything you're doing that is out there. So we have to definitely have you out again. Again, we're always going to have descriptions and the links below to your video Traitor, of course, and of course to you, your Instagram, your websites. And I'm telling you, I think it's fantastic. Before we have to get going, because you gave a lot of great advice, any words of advice for people that are struggling to get into, especially the arts, people that are struggling to find themselves, to kind of just say, you know what, you are worth it and move forward?
I think there's never been a better time to do it in 2025, whether you're trying to break into the arts, whether you're trying to, you know, self-profess your, just get your personality out there and bottom line is just be yourself. I mean, record yourself. Even if you're just recording yourself on video and doing like a video journal or something. I mean, that is a step in the right direction. So there's never been a better time to actively engage with other people and find similarities like we're doing here today.
Yeah.
You reminded me of one more thing I have to say before we leave. I heard this once. If your life is worth living, it's worth recording. So that was excellent advice.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah.
You're full of isms that I'm going to take with
Because
me
I'm
today.
the oldest one here.
Exactly right. Chris is all the isms that are out there. It's fantastic. That's why it's a good group. I have to tell you guys, man, this has been an amazing 40 minutes with the both of you.
Yes.
I think this has been fantastic. Now, again, for all of our listeners out there, of course, we will have descriptions you can all go on to learn more about Orphan Prodigy, of course, Traitor. His videos are more about all the movements that he's doing out there, his band himself, everything that he's working on. And of course, you can always listen to us on iHeartRadio, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Audible. And of course, you can now see us on the Roku channel, courtesy of our partners at Red Coral Universe. Make sure you get on there. Check us out on Roku and, of course, on YouTube, along with Bossum TV. I have to say, Orphan Prodigy, this has been such an amazing experience. I'm Joe Gawalis.
Chris Victor.
Of course, for the Live Your Dreams podcast is all about living your dreams, making them come true, because we are the dreamers and the dreams make the world go around. We'll see everybody next week. Orphan Prodigy, check the links out. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you guys so much, and we'll make sure to have you back on the show. See you guys again next week.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Ian, that was great, man. I can't believe 45 minutes went by in like 10 seconds, brother. That was awesome.
That was like hanging with the guys.
No,
Man.
exactly right.
Yeah. I'm coming over your
Exactly,
basement.
man.
I'm coming over your basement.
All right, that's fine, man. Let's do it up.
No,
Let's do
no,
it up.
we need to
Anytime.
have you on again. If you're ever doing a show near New York, let us know. We'd love to come down and support you, interview you live or whatever we can do, because
Definitely.
really, I love
Absolutely.
everything you're doing on there. Really is fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We're actually looking into doing a small show in Brooklyn, actually.
Oh, good. Let us know.
Yes.